human mind. 600 miles of synaptic fiber, 5.5 ounces of cranial fluid, 1,500 grams of complex neural matter. A 3-pound pile of dreams. But I'll tell you what it really is. It is the ultimate battlefield.
You know, if I had played this game when it came out, it would have been my whole personality. Psychonauts debuted in 2005 for the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, updated and re-released for PC and 360 around 2011, and it's one of my friends' favorite games. Asking your friends what their favorite games are is actually a pretty fantastic way to get recommendations, in my experience. Psychonauts was the first game by Double Fine Studios of Brutal Legend fame, as well as some other games. I missed Psychonauts the first time around, but hey, there's still dozens of games with great reputations that I've just never had time to try. So why not? Dig through the backlog a bit. Surely this game is just as good now as it was in 2005, right? We play as Rasputin, who trespasses into the training ground for the elite super agent group, the Psychonauts. Although it's more of a summer camp for training psychic child soldiers. The camp's counselors allow Raz to stay for a few days while he waits for his parents to pick him up, but alas, we get embroiled in a caper when a villainous force steals the brains of our fellow campers and only Raz is left to face it. The most immediately noticeable thing here is the aesthetic. If you think it looks like a playable Tim Burton movie, yes, correct. This is the kind of art style that hyperrealism has taken from us. The characters are all bizarre little polygon freaks, but since the entire world is so completely aligned in that style, everything ends up looking natural and right despite how kooky it all is. And it has that kind of PG-13 edgy kids TV writing, you know that Invader Zim type of dialogue that's become mostly extinct, or maybe I just don't watch TV anymore. But it's alive here with a lot of genuine laugh-out-loud moments brought through a combination of deadpan character quirks and just cleverly framed moments.
So he's really kidnapping children and stealing their brains to make weapons!
Yes! Isn't that great?
What?
Gameplay-wise, this sure is an early 3D platformer, although more story-focused than most and with a good deal of RPG elements. The controls aren't the best I've ever played, but they're far from the worst. Movement is just a little sluggish in parts, and the camera can throw precision off. But in general, it's a joy to explore this world. And exploration is encouraged by a host of collectibles used to raise our Psy Cadet level and unlock new abilities. We start off with a pretty basic platformer move set. We later learn that Raz is the son of a circus acrobat. And as we progress, we unlock a nice selection of more unique abilities, including ranged attacks, telekinesis, and levitation. Ability unlocks are tied into the camp theme of the game by being awarded as merit badges from instructors, usually after completing some sort of course from them. And unlike some other 3D platformers, the moves you unlock keep coming in handy throughout the game. It doesn't just forget about them once they're used for one puzzle. One of my favorite skills is the clairvoyance, which changes your camera for the targets, showing you how your enemy sees you. And there's really an astounding amount of small little illustrations for this one skill that you might not even use. That's the kind of focus on detail that makes a game great. We start out in the real world at the summer camp, talking with our fellow cadets and gathering up our badges, doing treasure hunts, seeing brief cutscenes that reveal the campers' relationships.
They're liars is all. Whatever they tell you, it's a lie.
I'll take your word for it. You going to class?
Yeah, I'll meet you up there. As soon as I get these guys to shut up.
And eventually this morphs into being our hub section. As we encounter certain characters, we enter their mental worlds. Each of these is really heavily themed towards something. With the instructors, these worlds are reflective of what they want to teach you, the way they hope to present themselves. Although if you revisit later and look around hard enough, you'll catch a glimpse of the truth behind the characters. It's usually pitch black, but presented with a sort of matter-of-fact humor, and I really love that Raz just does not comment on those revelations. The game just trusts the player to interpret them. And these revelations do generally provide context on certain motifs or objects that appeared within the world that otherwise just seem like slightly out-of-place decorations. These levels show off so much personality. It's hard for me to overstate that. Take the levitation trainer who presents her teaching course as a chic dance party, or the buttoned-up Agent 9 whose mind is a regimented and plain cube but packed to bursting with junk and jagged edges from his past. And these are the psychics who have some control over how they're presenting themselves to Raz. As the plot thickens and all our fellow campers get their brains stolen, we end up investigating the insane asylum across the lake from the summer camp, and entering the minds of the patients. And these levels are just sublime. I can honestly say I've never played anything quite like these, and I have played a lot of games. I'm hesitant to spoil them because the discovery is just such a good time, but I'll talk about the most famous one, the Milkman Conspiracy. The door guard to the asylum is a paranoid conspiracy theorist who has been subtly brainwashed. The level reflects his worldview, a bizarre suburb where cameras peek out of every object as soon as you look away, where every stranger is an undercover, waiting to interrogate you. The streets twist and wrap around the world at impossible angles. We progress by tracking down the same objects that the agents are holding so we can infiltrate their groups, all in an effort to track down the Milkman, the sleeper agent encoded into the door guard by the villain, who is kept in hibernation beneath the hideout of a faction of terrorist Girl Scouts. Each of the patients' levels has some sort of condition that's reflected in the design and functioning of their world, from the actress torn apart by her own self-critic to the former wrestler who's dwelling on his failure in high school to the point where the sewers of his world are subtly lined with lockers. And as you explore each level, you're exploring the character themselves. It's just a fascinating concept and so well realized, and I appreciate that it never tried to pull the same trick twice between the worlds. This game does a fantastic job of linking virtually every element. Probably my favorite thing is how nothing feels generic. Nothing felt dropped in from another game. Everything here, from the graphics to the mechanics, writing, the level design, the internal logic of each world, it all feels inseparable and interlinked. Like if any given piece of it wasn't here, the game wouldn't work. Just a tremendously well-synergized experience, and it helps that it's riotously inventive. The only real gripes I have about the game is levitation, the ability where you basically ride a bouncy ball of psychic force, is a bit overtuned. There were a few sections where I just used the levitation and float combo for the speed boost, and then later realized I was completely bypassing some novel progression or platforming section. But even then, it's pretty fun to bounce around, so I don't really regret it. There's also a few moments where graphics failed to load or audio seemed to randomly get much louder or quieter. Not to mention the age-old problem of music overwhelming the dialogue or audio cues running simultaneously. Minor technical issues that didn't really detract too much from the experience. The greatest thing I can say about Psychonauts is I was genuinely bummed when I finished it. When I hit the credits and get struck with that kind of bittersweet feeling that it's over, that I had a wonderful time and I'll never experience it with fresh eyes again, that's one of my markers for a truly great game. It's got a few of the issues of the early 3D platformers, a little roughness to the controls, mainly the camera, but this is a game that really blew me away, largely elevated by both the art style and the writing. It's got such distinct theming, great humor, and just a general feeling of cleverness that pervades it, top to bottom. On the trusty pain scale, I'd give Psychonauts a painless. It's nice to go in blind on a game and come out saying, you know, this might end up as one of my favorite games. I like to wait a year or so before I say something like that with too much gusto just to make sure, but I think it might be the case. It's around 20 hours to 100%, although honestly, it felt much quicker than that. And although I hate to use a facetious YouTuber idiom, I really did have trouble putting it down. Sorry about that. I hate how superfluous the game review language usually is, but it is true in this case. Even the victory lap where I revisited all the worlds and collected all the figments and emotional baggage and everything was really fun, although I did have to use a guide for one or two stubborn collectibles. Specifically, the stupid one over a river that you seemingly need to exploit a bug to actually get at. Psychonauts is definitely an all-arounder, classic 3D platformer, and it's a recommendation from me on the level of, like, Mario or Spyro. A top shelf jumping game. Anyways, that's all for my 54th review. I'm Jotun Warrior. Thanks for stopping in, and as always, see ya.